As Africa continues to navigate the complexities of economic growth and development, the role of strategic partnerships and innovative financing becomes increasingly vital. In this edition of Decryptage, Haytham El Maayergi, Executive Vice President of Global Trade Bank at Afreximbank, outlined the bank's strategic initiatives aimed at enhancing trade and investment across Africa, particularly through leveraging international partnerships, such as those formed during the Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh. Mr. Haytham El Maayergi, thank you for joining us on Africa 24 English. What specific initiatives does Afreximbank have planned for 2025 to enhance trade and investment across Africa, and how do you envision these initiatives impacting the continent's economic landscape?
So as Afreximbank is continuing to deliver a stronger year after year, we are seeing a strong execution for our 4 pillars that helped us in 2024 and continue to help us as we go into next year. Namely, our focus on intra-Africa trade, and we've seen a lot of efforts, especially in supporting the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, AfCFTA, and also the way we are looking at helping different entities in Africa go across, trade, invest, execute projects across. The other area we're delivering strongly is our focus on export development and industrialization. And this area, you can see it visibly of the amount of efforts and projects that we're doing across the continent, from supporting exporters, building industrial free zone with our partner Arise. And this is very critical for us, including the Africa Quality Control Centers, ACAC. And this free zones effort that we've done and quality centers is our gateway for Africa to be a strong manufacturer, an exporter, a strong industrial hub, and it's working very well. We've already seen a lot of these centers in Gabon, Chad, and other countries where we have managed to help countries from exporting cotton, for example, to export garment, from exporting wood to exporting furniture and plywood, and so on. We're adding value to our export as a continent, a very strong pillar for us. The third pillar is our focus to be the leader in the global trade when it comes to Africa. And we're supporting our customer across different areas, across advisory, capital market, across trade finance, across guarantees and specialized structures for financing, and also across the digital, where we have built our Africa Trade Gateway. It's a way for customers to buy and sell on e-commerce, B2B, B2G, inquire about the KYC and validate counterparts and get trade information on the area they're going to. It's a very strong pillar for us, and it's helping us not only on the intra-Africa piece, but to connect on the extra-Africa.
You took part in the 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative, held in Riyadh, the capital city of Saudi Arabia. How does Afreximbank plan to leverage Saudi investment in Africa to foster sustainable economic growth across the continent?
We had a very interesting meetings here, and the more we meet, the more we discover the unique match between the Saudi market need to go to Africa and what we can avail for them. And if you look across all areas, if you look at trade finance, we are already confirming more than 160 banks across Africa, where all Saudi exporters can take risks through us, get financing, and quickly finding us taking the risk for them. Also a lot of structure on trade finance where we can help them trade, access the markets, and even set up shop through our industrial zone and start to be part of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. The other piece that we're working with them on is advisory and capital market, how to advise them as they go into projects. Also, in addition to this, we work on them on how to provide guarantees for them, sovereign guarantees, projects, payment. A lot of these investors would love to go to Africa, but they need the right partner with them. And we're proven to be the partner for the amount of projects that we delivered with global investors as they go into Africa and global trader.
In your view, what are the most significant benefits that African countries can expect from increased Saudi investment, particularly in sectors like agriculture and infrastructure?
A lot of countries need to start to look at it instead of it's not simply finance, it's a lot of development and infrastructure work that can be done in partnership with the companies here. We met a lot of companies in the area of energy and infrastructure, and it's a major development activity that African countries need. And together, when we connect the full triangle, us and the countries and the investors, we will be able to pave the way to a lot of these activities, from clean energies, infrastructure, a lot of specialty into road. A lot of investment now are in Saudi, heading to Africa. We just need to challenge them in the right way, in the development yet profitable way for countries and for the Saudi counterparts.
What are the key structural and systemic challenges currently hindering African trade, such as infrastructure deficit, political instability, and access to financing? And how is Afreximbank strategically positioning itself to address these issues through innovative financial solutions, regional integration efforts, and support for economic diversification?
Sustainability is very critical. And you've seen the amount of regulations around the ESG and the drive towards it. But we have to look at it from the context of Africa. Like, for example, in the energy part, you've seen half of the continent don't have electricity and 1 million don't have access to clean energy. We're trying to promote sustainability through, and this is what we've done recently by launching the Energy Bank, the preparation for launch, is that we need to carry the context of Africa, give Africa its time until it's to transform and transit into a cleaner way of energy, for example. Same thing on the way of production, agriculture. It's needed, a lot of finance is needed, but it needs to be done on the right pace for the African context.
Given that small and medium-sized enterprises represent 95% of registered businesses and contribute significantly to GDP in sub-Saharan Africa, yet face multifaceted challenges beyond financing, what specific measures does Afreximbank implement to enhance SMEs' access to financing for cross-border trade, while also addressing other critical barriers such as capacity building, market access, and regulatory compliance?
A lot of efforts now are being done to try to pave the way into the other challenges that investors see. One of the issues that investors will see is that how can they transport their goods after they produce it cross-border? And in this, we're putting a lot of investment in roads and railroads and the whole thing. But not only this, we are also having this bonds facility where trucks can move cross borders across all countries with one single bond without the need of all this lining in front of the customs on every country, which delays a lot the way we trade together in Africa. There is an adjustment fund that we also launched with AFCFTA, where we adjust for the loss that countries may have had after they implement the free trade agreement, which encouraged them to implement the free trade agreement. It's a $1 billion adjustments fund. The other challenges that we're trying to pave with them is that how quickly they can set up their industry within Africa. And this is where we started to work on this industrial zone setup where we speed up their setup, because now they need to deal with less entities. It's a free zone context, and it's included in the free trade agreement. It's mainly the logistics after and during the setup. This is what we see, and we're trying to help a lot on this once you secure the investment. And for critical projects, we work well with countries to ring fence it, having these issues paved, but still issues, of course, because we have a lot of borders between each other, and this creates a lot of friction.
With the creative sector in Africa generating approximately $4.2 billion annually and experiencing rapid growth due to digital technology and internet connectivity, how does an event like the Future Investment Initiative aim to foster sustainable development and innovation among African creatives?
So for SMEs, we don't do SMEs directly, but we're supporting banks to do SMEs. So we have our own funding for banks that is directed to support SMEs. We're also involved in a lot of other activities like capacity building for SMEs and so on. And also we're providing for them our trading platform so they can start to put their goods, get opportunities across Africa and outside Africa. It's a big agenda for us to push SMEs. we as a multilateral bank, our customers, typically large corporates or FIs, our SMEs is done for us indirectly, but a lot of work also we do with international organization on how to provide funding for SMEs, so channel also other funding from international organization into SMEs.
Mr. Haytham El Maayergi, thank you for answering Africa 24 English questions. Thank you for following this edition of Decryptage. There are more programs coming up on Africa 24 English.